I encourage you to sing endless harmonies in every key, day to day, one measure at a time. It is then you will figure out the time signature that works best for you. Play on. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Sweet Madness podcast. I am Amanda Montoni, your host. We are live from NSTV, North Shore Television Studios, which is really, really fun. This new segment I'd like to introduce that I actually just introduced, little poem tidbits. They're little poems that I'd love to share with you guys that relate somewhat to what we are all feeling, what we feel in our heart, what our heart is singing, what our inner light is pushing to get out. And also, it ties to the topics I'm going to talk about later on in the episode. So today is a very special day. We have a very special guest. She is a singer, a voice coach, and a creative with a deep love for music, theater, arts, and meaningful connection. She works at a nonprofit arts center supporting local arts programming, and she loves spending her time performing, traveling, and bringing people together through music and shared experiences. She is the founder of Limitless Vocals, a voice lesson business where she helps students strengthen their voices and their confidence. With roots in a cappella and theater, her approach is both technical and heart-led. That's very important, creating space for others to grow into themselves as performers and people. She also sings with a band, sharing music that's full of energy. I've seen her perform. It is full of energy, feeling, and fun. She leads with her heart in everything she does. I can also verify that. Whether it's through music, teaching, or friendships, and is always, always striving to show up as her most authentic and vulnerable self, something that we all really should strive to do. Whether she's organizing a gathering for friends or cheering someone on in their creative journey, she is all about bringing good energy and helping others feel seen, supported, and inspired. And she definitely makes me feel seen, supported, and inspired. Please welcome Jamie Berger.
Hi, Amanda.
Hi, how are you today?
I'm good. Thank you so much for that warm welcome.
Oh, you're very welcome. I'm so happy that you're here.
Me too. I've loved your podcast from the beginning. It was like my tradition at work to sit and listen to it. Got me through my day, and it inspired me. And I was like, just silently hoping you'd one day ask me to be on it.
Well, after all the discussions we've had about it, why wouldn't I? So I'm really, really happy you're here. Jamie is a very good friend of mine. She is talented, heart-fulfilling, heart-led, everything that you would hope for in just a genuinely great person.
Oh my gosh, I'm blushing.
My listeners need to know how great you are and how there are just great people in the world, because especially nowadays, I feel like we're getting lost in the madness, right? So speaking of madness, what does Sweet Madness mean to you?
Oh my gosh. First of all, I love the title, Sweet Madness. It really hits the nail on the head for so many things in life. But for me, I think what Sweet Madness hits on is the ability to find the sweet in the madness, right? Because there's always going to be the madness. There's always going to be hurdles, roadblocks, obstacles, things that just don't go your way. And you're always going to need to find the positivity and the good throughout those hurdles to get you through them. And that to me is what Sweet Madness is mostly about, is finding the good and the light amongst the darkness, because there always will be darkness. But if you search hard enough, there always will be light.
Yes, you can't have one without the other.
You can't. But that is the best part of it, right? Because, it's the yin yang. I have it around my neck. It's so important to me because it is so true. You cannot have the white without the black. You cannot have the light without the dark. and people really want to believe in this world that exists, that there is only light and there can only be light. And because I'm experiencing dark, woe is me. Like, everything bad just happens to me. But no, you have to have the darkness because it builds character, it builds resilience, and it's the only thing that will make you actually appreciate the light. Because if all you have is light, you don't know any better, and then you're just spoiled.
She went there, folks. Yeah. It's so interesting because it's really like everybody has this tendency to think it's either all black or all white at one at a time, when in reality, it's all a mess of gray. There are all these tints of gray that infuse in there. There's context, there's sweetness, so maybe the gray will be a little lighter. The madness will be a little lighter. And that's what we strive to do. Like you said, the darkness is what really brings you out. It is the test of your character. And not that it should be a test, but I'm comparing it to movies. The hero always goes through some sort of big conflict.
Yeah, otherwise it's just a boring movie. Otherwise nothing happens, and you're waiting for something to happen. If there's no growth in a movie, in a character, it's uninteresting.
Right.
And then we're surprised when in our own life we're faced with things that make us grow that may not be very pleasant to go through. But, that's how you keep your own personal movie interesting, right?
Yeah. Romanticize your life. Be in your own movie. So, Jamie, what is your sweet madness story?
Yeah. Well, at first, when you asked me this question, I was easily overwhelmed because, you think of your life and, how can you really put all of your life into one answer, right? But I like to live in the present. That's
as we should.
Truly all we have. And presently, I'm 25 years old, and I am in the midst of discovering how truly excitingly terrible your 20s really are. I thought I was gonna graduate college and feel young and free, and my 20s is full of parties and being legally allowed to drink alcohol and enjoying the fun in life, but it really has not necessarily been like that. And that, I think, is my sweet madness story right now for me, is really navigating my 20s, and navigating my career path, navigating dating in your 20s, and really trying to figure out what is best for me in life, where I want to be in my 30s, and how do I get there? How do I invest my time in the right things and the right people now?
Yes.
And hopefully not wasting any time while doing so. I think that's the biggest concern for everyone at this age, is the idea of wasting time. Yeah. And it's constantly in my day-to-day life right now, self-talk of, that circle of, doing the things that I think I'm supposed to be doing, getting a step further, taking a step back, questioning myself in the process, and then trying to come back to a place of bringing my own self-talk to a positive place so that I can just keep pushing forward. And that's been the journey thus far, and it has indeed been sweet madness.
I totally resonate with that. Like, I thought my 20s, like, I'm going to go to college, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But for me, the realization of the plan is not set in stone, no matter how many people tell you it will be, it's not.
Yeah.
There's always a curveball. Like, my initial track in college changed. And afterward, I was literally the epitome of the song from Avenue Q, the musical.
Oh my gosh.
Like, what do you do with a BA in English? Like, I was like, oh my God, I'm a musical joke. But I'm like, oh well.
Puppets are singing and making fun of me.
I'm the puppet.
Yeah.
So I understand that. And like, for so long I was kind of, I wouldn't say stuck, but I discovered that I was staying stuck after a certain number of years of doing the same thing during and after college. And even though it helped me a lot in a lot of different ways for who I am as a person and what I can do in a job environment, theater is like the epitome of all tests for how to work with people. It is, yeah. If you can get through that, you can get through anything. Right. Like, you really can.
Yeah.
So, like, especially for my listeners who are your age and are in their 20s and discovering, hey, the path is not what it's supposed to be.
It's not even a path.
It's gone.
It's do I go around this tree? Do I go under this rock? Do I skip over this bridge? Or, am I going to have to go around the long way and walk over the bridge? And it's, and that's what makes it so daunting, I think.
Yeah.
And, I try to stay positive with knowing that, like, I will reach a point where I look back and I'm like, yes, all of those times where I, might have taken a right turn and felt like at the time I might have regretted this right turn. And then I make the left, and it led me to where I am now, which, is always a good thing. And the goal is to keep editing until you're completely, as much as you can be satisfied with your position, right? So I know that I'll look back and be grateful for all of the turns that I did make, even though at the time it wasn't clear where it was heading. But I'm not there yet. I'm still in the woods, a little bit lost. And it can be really daunting. It can be really scary. And you can get lost in negative thoughts very easily. And I try my hardest to keep that positive light over my head, keep that positive light over my friends' heads, that this is going somewhere. You are going to be where you're meant to be. And that keeps me personally going. But it was a journey to even get there,
Yeah.
When I was graduating from college, it hit me then, when throughout your whole entire life, it's a clear path, right? Not for everybody, but for majority of the people that I grew up with and I know, you go to kindergarten, you go to middle school, you go to high school, and then you're told you should go to college. And I did that. I did all the right things. I studied for the tests. I did all my homework, And then when I graduated college, it hit me like a ton of bricks. All of a sudden, all at once, what do I do next?
Yeah.
And the scariest part was that it was up to me.
Yes. You're out of the structure. You're out of the structured world.
You are thrown out of the structure. You are booted out of the structure. Like it's a plane you're jumping out of, and you are trying to grab that parachute as fast as you can before you hit the ground. You know what I mean? And that to me was surprising, and I wasn't expecting it. Yeah. Honestly, I don't ever feel like anybody sat me down and prepared me for that kind of moment and that kind of wall that I was going to hit. And I definitely feel like the past 3 years that I've had since I've graduated, I've definitely taken steps forward from that moment, from that wall that I hit where I needed to grieve, first of all, that, the structure of my life was over, and
that nothing is guaranteed.
Yeah, and that my beautiful college years, my nice little home that I made there were over. I needed to grieve that. And little by little, I've been taking steps towards, not being scared of that anymore. And, taking steps towards figuring out, okay, this is all up to me. What does that look like? And that led me to my next step, which was, I was a psychology major in college. I loved it. I love studying people. If I meet you, odds are I'm analyzing your brain 30 seconds in, understanding you as a person. And I loved it. And I didn't know exactly where I was going to go with it. I knew that I didn't necessarily want to be a psychologist. I felt like that wasn't necessarily the right step for me. But I, thought working in public education is a good, solid job. And I thought maybe I could be a school counselor in public education. My school counselor talked about it as if it was the best job in the world. And she did truly feel that way. And I love that for her. She really was happy at this job. And that's the path that I sort of picked. I felt like psychology would be a good plan for that. I enjoyed the major. It made sense for me. I give unsolicited advice to all of my friends as it is. And
she does. I can verify
anyone that I told, they'd say, oh, that's such a good path for you. Or that makes sense for you. Yeah. And I felt like it was a good, smart, stable path. And then when I graduated from college, I started a degree path for school counselor. I was in my master's for school counseling, and that's when I feel the stress started to begin, because I was sure about this path up until starting a master's program for it. And I very quickly realized that this wasn't where I want to be. But it's not that it's that simple. It's not that you realize you're not where you want to be and you're like, okay, I'll go change it. You have immense stress because you don't want to accept that you've taken steps towards something that is towards what you don't want to be doing. You don't want to admit that you've made a wrong turn, and it's hard to even admit that and put your pride aside. And it's hard to take steps backwards, or at least feel like you're taking steps backwards, and then be like, now I have to start over. Where do I go from there? And that's sort of been my journey for the last year. Last year and a half, actually, I'd say, since I stopped pursuing that program. I realized I was just choosing a safe option to me. For some people, they love it. And I love that for them. But I realized it wasn't going to be something that I loved. It was going to be something that I was choosing because I was too afraid to go for things that might be more of a risk to my ego, might be harder to obtain, might be trickier, especially if it's in the arts, might be less opportunities.
Yeah.
More of a fight. And that brings me to where I am now,
It's so interesting because I had the same thought in terms of what I want to do with my life. I want to love the thing that I'm doing. I want to fulfill my life and feed myself instead of slaving away at a job that I hate, because that just causes more unhealthy tendencies. And also you become like a person no one wants to talk to, no one wants to be around. No, because you hate your life and nobody wants to feel like somebody is constantly just talking about the negatives of their life, when you have the power to fix it. You have the power within yourself to start making steps towards fixing it. And it's not that it's easy. No. It's far, far, far from easy.
Which is why people don't do it.
Which is why people don't do it. Yeah, because we live in a world of convenience. We live in a world of convenience. So when the slightest thing messes our moods around, and we are not all aware of mental health. We are not. We don't. I know a lot of people, aka people I've dated. I know a lot of people who just kind of don't want to take the steps to face themselves. And that's what it is, right? It's like holding a mirror up to yourself and being brave enough to say, I see the parts that I don't like about myself and I'm going to change them. Or I'm going to change this about my life so I can stop being constantly angry, whoever your name is. Okay? Insert name here. So, and what I think you hit the nail on the head when you said you're staying in presence. The key to that is presence. Staying present while going through the hurdles and realizing how your body is reacting. Is it your gut feeling that's tied to your heart, or is it anxiety because you're scared of something, right? So I really love that you said you're working on being present. And that is something that I have been working on for a long, long time. And honestly, I think finally getting present with myself did change my life. And yes, I'm still in the weeds. The changes never stop, guys. Change is the only constant in the world. And if you're worried about your life path, it's going to change almost every day, depending on what happens.
Yeah, which is wild because I think that is one giant thing that separates, my generation, your generation, and the previous generation before that. You and I, born the times that we were, are probably somewhere in the middle of the millennial Gen Z glob. You might consider yourself more...
I'm a millennial.
Millennial, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'd probably consider myself more Gen Z. But, the prior generation, the generation that my parents were from, they're really trying to understand my generation, but they just came from a different one, like we feel like the idea of picking one path and sticking with it no matter what we don't want to do that.
No.
We don't want to do that.
To a degree, I understand where it comes from because you do need persistence in what you actually want to do.
Yeah.
So like if you're pursuing something that you really, really, really want to do and you know in your heart you want it, but you're hitting that roadblock after roadblock, some people stop. But no, stick with it. Stay on the path if this is your heart calling.
Yeah, yeah.
But if it's not, you're just setting yourself up for misery.
Right. And that's the difficult thing, right? Because some people really do have that, and it's amazing. It's beautiful that particular thing in their life worked out that way, Some people, when they're a little kid, they dream about, being a pilot one day, and their path is clear. They know the school they need. They know how to get there. They get there. They love doing it, and they can never imagine themselves doing anything else. And that's so wonderful for them. I really, truly am happy for people that get that and that it works out. I was just not one of those people, and I couldn't force it, And I want other people that resonate with that idea that didn't, as a kid have exactly the right idea of what they wanted to do when they grew up because they were thinking of what they wanted to do when they were a kid.
Right.
Those people I resonate with, and those are the people I'm constantly having conversations with that are my age that were like, we're pursuing this right now. Maybe in 3 years, I don't know. I don't know if I'll be pursuing this. Maybe in 5 years, who's to say what I'll be doing even then? Like I picked this path because I don't know. I just picked it. My parents said it would be a good, strong career path, and I chose this, and now I'm here, and I'm not really liking it. So how do I get myself out of this? How do I get myself out of this and still pay rent and still go on vacations and, be able to go to bingo night with my friends and buy a couple drinks? Like you have to live life in the moment while thinking about how you get to the steps that you want to be in the near future as well. And, if the pandemic taught me one thing, it's how to not plan too far in the future.
Yes.
Because we really don't know where things are going.
Right.
But, it is a constant battle.
But don't make it everything.
Yeah.
Because that's how you miss out on the life that's with you right now.
Right.
Yeah, have a plan, but don't go too far down that rabbit hole, because then your whole life becomes working toward that goal, which in general, that's a great thing, but like not to the unhealthy degree.
Right. And
Yes.
that, I think, brings us back to that idea of sweet madness.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you are in the madness. You may not know what you want to do. You may be stuck in a job that you're really hating, or a career path that you know isn't right for you, but you don't know how to get out of it, because that might require starting over, doing more school, and that is just not capable. Like, you're not capable of pursuing that right now, but just take a moment and think about the sweet part of the sweet madness. Think about the friends that you have right now. Think about all of the good things in your life. And that's what keeps me grounded. I stop and think and remember all of the things that are going well, that I am grateful for. All of the things that my current position has allowed for me, and the mindset that it has put me in, and the growth that it has stirred in me, and the opportunities that it has opened up for me,
Yeah.
And you can really just appreciate at the end of the day that you have people that support you, that you have family in any sense of the word that loves you, that you wake up every day, and that you have food on your table.
Yeah.
These are things that people take for granted so much, and it really is important to just ground yourself every once in a while and remember, okay, I might not have my career
Figured out.
Yeah. But, I do have all of these things that is essential to helping me get there. And when I do, I will be one fulfilled human being and appreciated it along the way.
Yeah, absolutely. Gratitude lists. I love the gratitude lists. Speaking of food, thank you, Hungry Root, for feeding me. I will drop my share code down in the show notes, because everybody deserves to have good organic food that goes through dietary needs.
Oh, yeah.
I guess we're sponsored by Hungry Root, but please just share. I'm just sharing my my promo code for you guys. Sorry, that was really a markety thing to do, and I kind of didn't like it, but also
I'm always here to market organic food. You trust me. I mean, You would think I'm a salesperson for farmers markets and making your own bread, because
making your own bread.
Yeah,
Love it.
I can't even go into it too much. But
Right.
Yeah, I can't have too many organic plugins.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Especially because, so me and Jamie are both vegetarians.
Oh, yes.
So,
Yes.
So and I have some other dietary things going on. So Hungry Root, like, I genuinely love it so much, because it's changing the way that I eat, and it's saving me in a lot of different ways. So thank you, Hungry Root. So Jamie, now... you've gone through your whole career I'm trying to think, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of like a fun word.
And what do I do now? Yeah. Yeah. What I have come to in the last 3 years, where I am now is, I've started my own little business. I teach voice lessons. I am a singer. And it's actually wild how I got into it a little bit. I've sung my whole entire life. In high school and college, a cappella was my life.
That's
Theater
so fun.
has always been my life. I always loved taking leadership roles in those programs. I was music director of my college a cappella group. And in high school, my senior year, I was actually a voice teacher. There was a program where they would let the seniors or juniors work with the middle school kids in my high school, and you could put your name on a list to be a voice teacher. So I did that a little bit. So I did have a little bit of experience
That's awesome.
in it. And I was just in a place where I was applying and applying and applying for anything you could think of. Internships, jobs, doing work for free, just telling friends or people I meet, if you ever need someone for this or that, I'm looking to get experience in this or that. Like, just doing as many things as I could think of that I could fit in my time. And some of those things don't make a lot of money.
Right.
Especially the free things. Like I did an internship and that made $0 and 0 cents, which is not great for a 25-year-old that wants to spend money in Europe,
Right.
So I recently, for a year and a half, I did work at Columbia. I did have a job, that was my Europe travel fund, and I loved the people that I worked with. I really did. The job itself, I knew was not using my skill sets, and it wasn't fulfilling me in the way that I know it could. But I knew that taking on the job, I knew that it may not be a job that did that, but I wanted to try something, experience higher education, because it was something that I dabbled in college as well. And, I wanted to see what it was like. And having a hybrid job was really good for me. It wasn't something that I even thought was a possibility when I entered college, because it didn't really exist as much, So I wanted to take advantage of this opportunity of a hybrid world, and so I did that for a while. And then I left that. And when I came back from some traveling, that's when the idea was presented to me about teaching voice. My high school voice teacher had called me up on a random Wednesday afternoon.
Wow.
She called me up. I hadn't gone to her in years, but she remembered me, out of all of her hundreds of students that she's had at this point.
That speaks volumes.
She just, for some reason, she had thought of me, and she might have talked to other people as well.
Right.
But she reached out to me and she said, I am moving to North Carolina in a few months, and I was wondering if you would be interested in teaching voice and taking over some of my students that don't want to continue with me virtually.
That's a huge deal.
Yeah, and I, of course, was hit with a little bit of anxiety, right? Because, I don't know exactly what I want to do, and committing is scary. It's kind of like committing in a relationship. You're committing to a career path, right? So I was like a little nervous at first, but then, I wanted to be the kind of person that just says yes to every opportunity. And if you change your mind later on, that's okay. You can still change your mind. There's still space to do something else, but be open to it against your anxiety.
And you learn so much from just having new experiences.
You do.
I have learned so much in the last couple of years since I stopped teaching regularly at a dance studio. And I have learned so much. And it's how I'm here, like right here in this room right now with you. So, yeah. So sorry. Continue.
Yeah, so you just never know. Like if something comes knocking on your door, literally. Like my phone was ringing. I did not seek this out. It had something that had been on my mind a little bit, honestly. Coincidentally, I had thought about it. But then she reached out to me and offered this to me, and she said, the only reason I can afford my new house in North Carolina is from doing voice lessons.
Yeah.
And she really inspired me. She said, I will help you. You can come shadow until I leave. And I did that. I had lots of conversations with her, lots of long conversations. I really appreciate the time that she took, and she really did inspire me in ways that she doesn't even realize she did.
Aww.
She made me feel like anything was worth trying.
That's amazing.
And when you're 22, 23, or even at any age, and you're feeling lost and you're reaching out and you're trying new things and you're applying to things, you're going to get a lot of no's, and you're going to get a lot of people telling you you're not qualified, you can't do this, you don't know enough. And she was like the one person, you know, maybe besides my parents, that that was telling me, you can do this. You are qualified enough. You don't have to worry about that voice in your head telling you that you can't. And it was such a relief. It was such a breath of fresh air. Finally, somebody making me feel like I was worth some type of job, you know? Mm-hmm. And she pushed me, and then when she left, I started officially taking people on, and I created a website for myself. And, you know, I really dove into all the entrepreneurial, you know, aspects of starting your own little thing. Mm-hmm. You know, all of the things that I've admired of other people that build their own brand and that build something from start to finish and really can create something. I've always admired people like that, especially in the arts. It's always my first love, music and arts. Mm-hmm. My life always comes back to that, you know? And so finally this was my chance to see how I am in creating my own thing, you know? And it doesn't have to be this giant thing. It can be low key. And I don't know exactly where it's heading, but the opportunity is there, and let's see how I'm doing. And, you know, now I've had, you know, quite a few students, and, you know, they've had accomplishments since I've been working with them, and, you know, they're getting more confident and they're learning things and they're growing, and I'm learning more as both a singer and a teacher. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I'm building relationships with these people, and I'm just learning about myself and learning about growing my own business and, you know, learning more about my passions. And it really is something that is getting me further in figuring out where I'm meant to be and what I'm meant to be doing. You know, will I be a voice teacher for the rest of my life? I don't know that at this point in time. Mm. But what I do know right now is that I tried a new thing and I'm doing okay at it. And, you know, I'm pushing through any self-doubt, and I'm proud of myself for at least that. And I'm excited for the opportunities that come from this chain of events.
This is amazing, Jamie. I don't want to let you go, but we are out of time. But just having this conversation with you is so inspiring to so many people who feel the same way. And that is exactly what the Sweet Madness podcast is for. And your story is amazing. And I loved hearing about it. And I'm so happy for you. And I can't wait to see where this business goes and what is next for your next chapter.
Thank you, Amanda. That really means a lot to hear that, because I just genuinely really care about lifting others up and inspiring people and making other people believe in that positive, sweet madness in their life. So thank you so much for having me and letting me tell my Sweet Madness story.
Absolutely. This is amazing. Fun. I love it. We got to I have ideas brewing for certain things. So this conversation has inspired me. So thank you. Where can people find you? What's your website for your voice lessons and stuff like that?
You can find me on Instagram, JamieBerger_. You know, you'll see a lot of my singing videos on there. You know, I do talk about voice a little bit and growing your voice and voice lessons and what that has done for me. And also Limitless Vocals is the name of my voice business. You know, I am based in Long Island. I do virtual voice lessons as well. You know, Beautiful. You can look up Limitless Vocals. And you can find me there or reach out to me through Instagram. I love meeting new people and new opportunities that come my way.
I love it. Thank you. Keep us updated. Mm-hmm. Keep us updated. I would love to hear all about it.
Yeah, and I'd love to be back whenever you'd love to have me and talk about all the other madness of your 20s, like relationships and dating and friendships and all of that fun stuff as well.
Love it. Love it so much. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. And guys, if you loved what you heard in this episode, please comment, like, or subscribe to the Sweet Madness podcast. You can also give me a follow at amanda.montoni on Instagram. And for little tidbits and exclusive content that relates to anything Sweet Madness, you can sign up for the newsletter at www.amandamontoni.com. And
get your personal poem.
Oh, gosh, yes. I write personal poems for you guys.
It's been so essential in my career path. Honestly, when I feel lost, I look at that poem. She knows how to take your words and put them in writing. It means a lot to me. Go get your own.
Thank you.
What are you doing?
Thank you so much. All right, Jamie, we're going to sign off. You ready?
Yes. There's always sweet nuggets in the madness.
There's
Thanks, Amanda.
always sweet nuggets. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you.